Hey guys, it's Adolph with TableFlippers, and today we're going to take a look at a pretty unique game. Now, if you like dexterity games, and you like two-player games, and you like flicking stuff at other people, I have the greatest game ever for you. This is Knockdown Barns, and it comes in a duffel bag, or like a potato sack type thing. This was a Kickstarter that was notoriously known for struggling, and it's all over. Board Game Geek is like one of the worst Kickstarters ever. But I got my hands on a copy. I talked directly to the distributor, and he's a very nice guy, so don't give him a hard time. But anyways, here's TableFlippers' review of Knockdown Barns. Alright, so let's see what we get inside this bag here. You get a headache. No. You get 2 more potato sacks filled with wooden blocks that look like this. You get a whole bunch of these little marshmallow things. They call them weapons in the game. These are what you're going to be flicking into your opponent's barn. You get a couple of standy pieces so you can stand it up on the table. And you get a instruction card that has diagrams on the front with how the different placements are legal and not legal, and it also tells you where you can flick from depending on how your opponent's castle is still standing. So you get this heavy wooden, looks like a cutting board type thing, hard wood. I think it's bamboo, I don't know. And you get this piece here. So yeah, very interesting game. Alright, so here we are with the basic setup for a 2-player game, which is all this game plays. It's only 2 players. I guess you could play like 4 players teams, but it's pretty much a 2-player game. Now, you're going to set up this board like this, and underneath here, you're going to see I have some of those weapons that I was talking about, these little marshmallow things. And you're going to set the table up on 4 of them so it's off of the table a little bit, so it's not directly flat on the table. You also have these 2 spacing blocks here, which you put in the middle of the board. There's a line in the middle of the board there. And you're just basically going to line those up and take this dividing piece and slide it right inside there, hopefully. There we go. And that's how you set it up. So this person does not have a view of this person's side. After that, each player will take 26 of these blocks and a handful of the weapons. These don't matter if they're equal, they're basically infinite, so if you don't have any more, you just grab some more. So 26 of these blocks and some weapons, and they're going to be constructing a barn. And there's no real rule to how you make your barn. You can build it anywhere you want on your side of the board. You can build it way up here if you want, or you can build it way back here if you want. It doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and speed this up, and I'll build my barn, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we go. I've built my barn. Now, the only real rule to building your barn is that at least one piece has to be higher than the dividing wall. So you can see clearly here mine is taller, and you can even see in the background my opponent's is taller as well. So we've successfully met all the conditions for our building. Now it's time to do the big reveal to see what we have. Cool. Now, this is where the game starts. Players are going to take turns flicking their weapons from the light area of the board, so behind here, trying to, let's see if I can do this here. That was a total miss, and I lost that one. Trying to knock over their opponent's barn, like that, but flicking it. And they're going to take turns going back and forth, until one player has no more pieces of wood on their side of the table. I'm sorry. Yeah, until one player has no more pieces of wood on their side of the table. When that happens, the other player, who still has wood on their side, would have 1. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that sounds pretty straightforward, it sounds pretty simple, but there are some placement rules here. And if you look at this chart, this table, it clearly says that Blocks that are supported by other blocks are considered to be called secure. So these blocks that are in these positions are secure. If your opponent has at least one secure block, then you must shoot from the light area of your board. If they don't have any of these blocks that are in the green here, and they have blocks that are only supported by other blocks that are laying down. So you see how these red blocks are standing up on their edge, either like this or like that. If there's a block on top of something like that, that's considered to be secure. It's like a wall and a roof. If the blocks are only being supported, see the yellow here, only being supported by blocks that are laying down, whether it be like that, or like that, or like that, that building is considered to be roofless. Now, if your opponent does not have any secure buildings but they do have roofless buildings, then you are allowed to shoot anywhere on your side up to the middle line. Okay? And that being said, if they only have pieces that would be colored red on this chart, whether that be just laying down flat like this, or like this, or like this, that building is considered to be in rubble. And when your opponent's building is rubble, you are free to shoot from anywhere on the board, even on their side. Now that leads to some pretty strategic flicking, because let's say that there was only rubble here, okay? All those blocks are rubble. I could make a defensive move where I come behind him and flick his pieces onto my side, essentially reinforcing my lead. Not only is it removing pieces from his side, but it's adding pieces to my side. So it does add a little bit of depth in this game, and it's not just mindless flicking, trying to do the most damage. So this can be played over 3 rounds. Best of 3 usually wins. Alright, so what do I think about Knockdown Barns? I think it's a very fun, crazy, exciting 2-player dexterity game. I brought this to Dice Tower Con a couple of months ago, and we played it all night. It was a hit. My friends loved it. I had people watching. It's one of those games where when you see somebody play, you just want to go over and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you flicking marshmallows into wood blocks for? It's loud. It's exciting. The only thing I would recommend is to not play it next to people who are playing like Agricola or Terra Mystica, because these things go flying, and we actually had a situation where they flew and hit another person's table and they weren't very happy, which I get. But all said and done, you're gonna lose a couple of these. It's not a huge deal. So yeah, that is Knockdown Barns. And if you want to get a copy of Knockdown Barns, comment on this video and I'll send you a link to the guy's PayPal, and he'll send it out to you pretty quick. Super nice guy. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.